Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining my live. I have a lot to talk about for Jiu-Jitsu World League. I should probably go grab my gold medal, but I don't want to get off live to go grab it. But I won Jiu-Jitsu World League. Actually, no, not enough people have joined yet, so I'm going to go grab it. Okay, guys, thanks for the wait. I won Jiu-Jitsu World League. Should I wear this the whole time? Is that fun? I one sec. All right, there we go. That looks so much better. I'm sure the first few minutes of my lives are the absolute worst to watch because I'm oh, what am I going to do with my cameras and stuff like that. I am still getting used to my whole YouTube setup, and I'm trying to make it as good as possible and make it look a little bit more profesh with that whole thing. I need to steam this thing. But anyway, we are here. Everyone's like, go grab it. Yeah, okay, I'll wear my medal during this live stream. But man, those girls were so tough, and it was something that I haven't been on the best streak in my jiu-jitsu lately, and it was just so extremely satisfying to see my hard work pay off, and especially being able to have that type of confidence that I had going into the match. It was really good in the sense that it was getting kind of hard to believe in myself, and because I've been working on a lot of my other arsenal of tools and techniques in jiu-jitsu outside of just my main few favorite things, and seeing that happen in the room just wasn't going as I am used to. So in working on my other stuff, I've definitely been neglecting some of my favorite things. So it was definitely such a huge achievement to be able to just go back to the basics of what I do and what I like to do, and trusting in my own game rather than trying to modify it for external reasons. So I'm just rambling. Why am I rambling like this? Maybe I haven't had enough coffee, but anyway, just going back to the basics of believing in myself and trusting in my game and trusting in myself and making sure that I'm properly preparing for competitions, as well as my strength and conditioning that I've been doing. I felt extremely strong going into that. I've been playing with this grip strengthener constantly, and I really felt that in my snap downs, that I felt my grips were so much stronger than they typically are. So I really enjoyed being able to see specific sport specific conditioning stuff pay off. So that was really rewarding. Somebody said, somebody in the comments said that they've been grappling for 2 years and still haven't gotten one of those. Yeah, it took me a while to get one of these. I did not do well at my first few competitions that I ever did. It took me a while to start winning, and then it also took me even longer to start consistently winning. So don't give up. Thank you. I'm laughing at that. I think I'm going to live stream on TikTok at the same time as I do this, just because so many people think that jiu-jitsu athletes and YouTubers and social media people make so much money. I absolutely don't. I rely heavily on sponsorships and like super chats and stuff like that. And it's so sad that a couple of my sponsorships recently have decided, one of them and I decided to go our separate ways. Miss you. I can't probably say that or else they won't sponsor me again. But I will miss you to my protein brand that I was sponsored by. And then my skincare brand is going a different direction for their marketing team this year. So I'm just like steady trying to look for different sponsorships and stuff like that, just because like social media apps and platforms, like having a lot of followers doesn't explicitly pay you, especially as an athlete who's like not taking like certain brand deals because I know that I have like an audience of little girls who look up to me, and making sure that I keep my image something that I can be proud of. Like it's a lot harder to do things when you're doing it the right way. So looking for sponsorships if anyone wants to sponsor me. Let's talk more about what do I eat the day before and the day of the tournament. I would say the day before I'm on my regular diet and I eat mostly a carnivore diet. I tend to eat mostly meats and protein and vegetables and some fruits. So I do that. I make sure that I'm properly hydrated, like days leading up to it. If I'm not cutting, even if I am cutting, it just heavily depends. But definitely make sure you're hydrated. The day of, I actually have a lot of carbs. Like I competed around 4 p.m. and I would have liked to have had a bigger breakfast. But for breakfast, I had a plain bagel, nothing on it, not even cream cheese, just because I absolutely love cream cheese and other stuff like that. But I am kind of lactose intolerant, but I just viewed that as like a suggestion rather than a rule. So I did not put any cream cheese on that, so my stomach wouldn't be upset. Had that around 1-ish before I left. So I had a bagel and some coffee before I left. And then while I was at the tournament, I got another cup of coffee. I had an Americano and a bagel. And then I went on an hour later. I am also going to be showing you guys some of the stuff. The girls that I went against were so tough. It was such a good time. I have like a whole vlog coming out of all the stuff that I did. Is this even like fun, or is that like annoying? The way like if I show you guys that stuff. I hope Jiu-Jitsu World League sends me this photo that's being taken right here. I've kind of been holding out for it because it's a really good photo. But look at that. I had some good matches. And I'm just going to be posting stuff throughout the week from each match. I'm probably going to post like my match number 2 tomorrow, and then sometime at the end of the week, I'm going to post match number 3. Then after that, like a highlight reel from all of the matches combined, most likely. And at the end of the week, I'm going to just post like all the different angles that I have of them. And that just to, make sure that you guys are getting the maximum amount of content so we can get the maximum amount of YouTube views. So putting that together, I edit everything myself. I do everything myself. Like, we are not Hollywood over here. It's literally just me and my iPhone and CapCut against the world. So it's just, that's what I'm up to. Even my setup isn't that fancy. I'm just a girl with a dream. I have like a little $20 ring light. I do have a nice DJI webcam camera, but that's like a very new addition to the team. But I started all of this with just my iPhone and a goal. Let me go on TikTok live while I am going on YouTube live for the maximum live games. Okay, great. I am now on TikTok Live and Instagram Live at the same time. Hi everyone, you guys are getting the exact same stream, but just slightly different. Same, but different. Yeah, I definitely do feel like my hard work is paying off a lot. Sorry for rambling for 10 minutes of the stream. I definitely need to get more on track with what I'm talking about. So let's try to, and then go in chronological order. So leading up to a tournament, I make sure that non-negotiably that I get at least 8 hours of sleep, possibly more. So the day before tournament, I'm just drilling and taking it super light. And so I got a lot of rest the day before. The tournament wasn't until 4 p.m. So I chose to stay up until like 3 a.m. just because I wanted to, and stayed up until like 3 and woke up at like 12 and got some gas and got in my car before 1 p.m. and then drove that hour and a half from San Diego to Long Beach because Jiu-Jitsu World League Pan Americans happened in Long Beach. So got to Long Beach just in the nick of time to make weigh-ins because I almost didn't make it there in time to make weigh-ins. So that was super tough just because I really didn't account for traffic. But thankfully I was not cutting weight and I was already like, I think I weighed in at like 139 or something like that for this tournament, and it was 142 and under. So it went really good. So I knew that all I had to do was get to the weigh-in station before 3, and I would be okay. So I got there right in the nick of time at like 2:50. I'm like running up to the weigh-in areas. No one was even like in that much of a rush. I don't think they would have actually cut it off at 3, but I just know how organized Jiu-Jitsu World League is, and I was afraid that they actually would like cut it off at 3. So that was a fear that I had. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. I'm just being gross. Somebody on TikTok asked, you got the purple belt yet? No. My coach has been talking to me about getting my purple belt lately. He said that I just need to work on being just as good defensively as I am offensively. So I'm definitely working on that and specializing in my leg locks. League combined the blue belt and the purple belt for Pan Americas, and my division was predominantly purple belts. So it was really just like a purple belt division with a couple random blue belts, myself included. And both of the girls that I beat were verifiably purple belts. And I'm not sure about the third girl that I beat. I'm not sure if she was a blue or a purple belt, but 2 of them were. The 2 girls that I faced in my first match and my third match were purple belts that I know for sure. I need to start going live more. If you guys want to drop any like super chats or gifts or anything like that, all of that stuff is appreciated. I fund all of this stuff myself with my social media stuff. And so I barely made it to weigh-ins, so that was already super stressful getting over there for weigh-ins. I go weigh in and I go warm up. I warm up with one of like my teammates from 10th Planet San Diego, which was actually involved in like in my controversial match of last year with the 200-pound person that wasn't born a biological female. So I don't know how to state that in a way that doesn't like bring harm to anybody, but she was the person I warmed up with was actually like the person that had a match against them first, and realized that this person wasn't originally biological female. So it was like really interesting to like see her again and be able to hang out. And I just saw her like standing over on the side, and I was like, I don't know if she wants her name out there, so I'm just gonna call her G. If she wants her name out there, I will do it, but she's a very private person, a very religious woman of her faith. Commend that and all that good stuff. So I was like, hey G, like, do you wanna warm up together? That's crazy. Like, I've been since that match. That was crazy, right? So we did some pummeling drills and stuff like that. I got nice and warm. Before I go on to compete, I just try to make sure I'm actively sweating around like 10 to 15 minutes before I go on, just because I find that if I don't get a good enough warm up, then that's really hard for me to like really turn it on in the match. But if I get a good warm up, I'm sweating and I like get to catch my breath and then just go on. that's when I do the best. So I like to do pummeling drills. I like to do just like see who can get the body lock and just basic wrestling stuff. And then I stretch for the last like 10 minutes before I go on. I like to be stretching before I get in the bullpen. I am kind of getting sick, so I was also a little bit worried about that. I've just been so phlegmy, and I can't breathe out of my nose right now. If I'm being a little bit of a mouth breather lately. Oh, one of my friends says she misses me on my TikTok live. I'm doing this on TikTok and YouTube at the same time, so it is hard to look at both ways. So super chats and stuff are going to be prioritized. Any like coins, roses, whatever you guys are doing on TikTok, and super chats over here. So I got nice and warm. I stretched out after I had my coffee and warmed up, and then I had my first match. And like while I was just driving over, I was just looking at the bracket and stuff like that, and I just like saw some of the girls, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be dealing with like some really intense competition. So I typically don't like look up my competition like too heavily, but if I'm just driving over there already and I have like an hour to kill, I'll do that. I don't really look up people like extensively beforehand just because I feel like you got to be ready for anything. And sometimes you'll be so worried about somebody in a particular tournament or bracket and they don't even end up competing against you. So you end up wasting a lot of time and energy stressing out about somebody. But just on the drive over, I saw that I had some really fierce competition, and I was like, okay, got to make sure to get the good warm up in. I've been doing all my strength conditioning, so if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and that's my mindset there. And I'm also keeping the mindset of that I need to be more worried about what I'm going to do to my opponent than worried about what my opponents are going to do to me. So that's something that I make sure to keep in mind, that like I'm the threat, that I need to worry about what I want to do, because you can have your my opponent can have their absolute favorite move, but if I can get to my favorite move first, then I'll never find out what their super special move was. Somebody said how long I've been doing wrestling. Wrestling specifically, like coming up on 2 years, perhaps. Jiu-Jitsu overall, like 3. Somebody also asked me, how do I keep my knees healthy grappling? Definitely do your strength and conditioning, and a bent knee is a safe knee. So do not hyperextend your own knees while you're training, or attempt to defeat takedowns with just putting your own knees down. You'll tear your stuff. Somebody said, aside from rolling, do I do any other cardio workouts for my conditioning? I do a lot of running and using like the assault bike and stuff like that. And I walk my dog a lot, and I deadlift, and I use a grip strengthener for my grips. What is my electrolyte solution? I like the Santa Cruz Medicinals randomly handed me like this thing of electrolytes a couple months ago at ADCC, and I've just been using Santa Cruz Medicinals like electrolytes randomly. You just like put them in my hand, so I eat those. Okay, gonna take a step back from the answering the questions for a split second so I can get back to the part of my day right before my match. So I have my first match against who I later found out was like a super skilled and accomplished purple belt, and she was so cool. She was so tough, and just from like it was definitely like nerve-wracking for me to be like, okay, this is the person I'm going against, and she looks super strong, she looks super tough. And I posted that one yesterday. I ended up being able to guillotine my opponent, and she really made me work for that setup. A lot of the times people say like, why do your opponents keep giving you their head? Like literally no one is giving me their head. I do a lot of setups in order to get to those positions. So I think it's actually kind of like disrespectful in a way that a lot of people say that they're giving me their head, because I'm definitely going out there and doing a lot of setups in order to get their head. Like you need to be as charitable as possible when you're like giving feedback like that, just because no one's giving me their neck. I'm doing a lot of things as an athlete to get to that point, even if it doesn't look like that. Like at a certain level of competition, especially in a purple belt, Jiu-Jitsu World League, Pan Americas, each person is being very intentional with their moves. So no one's giving me their neck, as some comments suggested. That's something that I definitely go out of my way to do setups to get people in positions in which I prefer them to be in. Somebody gave me a lightning bolt on TikTok Live. That is super nice. What did you ask? Oh, thank you. I don't see a question from Jack, who gave the lightning bolt. I just see the lightning bolt. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for anyone who donates in the super chat and stuff like that. Thank you, Boogie Down on TikTok. That is super cool. I appreciate that. So after my first match against Jeanette Gloger, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I had another match, and it was so funny because like the girl prior to the match, she was just like, "Oh my god, I follow your content." And I was like, thank you. She was super kind. She offered me like some Starbursts and stuff like that before the match. It was really cool. And then we went against each other, and it was all love. She was also so incredibly talented, and she was also really strong. I ended up finishing my match number 2 with a ninja choke. I'll be posting that one tomorrow. And that was my first time hitting a ninja choke in competition. Like, she was so incredibly talented, and she was also so pretty, and I loved her lashes. So match number 2, I hit a ninja choke in about a minute, like 45 seconds to a minute type vibe. So I was extremely proud of myself for actually being able to execute a ninja choke in competition, because I've been drilling that move a lot lately, but I just hadn't really seen openings for it in competition. So it was really cool to actually see the openings that I was foretold about in a live competition setting. So I got that. And then after the second match, I was like, okay, all I have to do is win one more match for first. And I was incredibly excited. That one was a little bit more anxiety inducing because Helena Cravar was competing on like a couple mats down, and they wanted to finish filming her match, which absolute love and respect to that competitor as well. But she was in a weight class above me. She was having her match finished film, and they wanted to film my finals match. So I was just waiting for them to come around with the camera to film my finals match. So that definitely like kept building up the nerves by just like knowing that they're waiting and they're going to film my finals match, and they wanted to do that. And that definitely gets the nerves up when I have some time between matches to think. So I was like getting in my own head a little bit, but I felt really good. I felt really strong before that, and then I ultimately ended up winning that match with a guillotine as well in about a minute and 30 seconds. She was incredibly tough. She was a very skilled opponent. I think 2 of the people that I competed against like train at AOJ, so that was incredibly cool to be able to like compete against some really high skilled female competitors. I felt really good competing against predominantly purple belts. Getting my purple belt has filled me with like a lot of anxiety, because I know that my coach has been like teasing around it for a little bit. So competing in a tournament that combined the blue and purple belt let me test myself without like all the anxieties of if it was like a solely purple belt tournament. Like, I'm still a blue belt, and I hope to get my purple belt soon, but it was really cool to have one purple belt level division tournament. Somebody said, thank you. Somebody said, congrats on the gold. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for the roses on TikTok. I appreciate that. No, I got 2 guillotines in a ninja choke. To whoever asked if I won by guillotine, no, it was 2 guillotines and a ninja choke. So then we go walk up to the podium, and that was really cool. Like having a camera crew behind me while I'm like walking over to the podium. That that felt really good. And then we took some photos on the podium, and it felt incredibly fulfilling and accomplished in my spirit, and accomplished in my, however you would say that. It felt super rewarding to stand up on the podium, on the first place podium, and then be interviewed by Jiu-Jitsu World League. I feel like I totally like crapped the bed on my interview because I just started word vomiting when they asked me about it. They're like, "How did jiu-jitsu change your life?" I was like, "I was gonna become a lawyer, and then I got into jiu-jitsu, and everything's like, like I feel like I just word vomited like my life story because originally, like I originally went to UCLA and I wanted to work in entertainment law, so I got a bachelor's degree at UCLA in sociology and music industry. And it had everything, like I had done my pre-law stuff. I'd been in a bunch of pre-law clubs. I'd taken the LSAT. I did a bunch of stuff to become a lawyer. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what it's like becoming a professional grappler. And that's the stage of my life I'm in now. And I was like, okay, well, professional grappling doesn't make a lot of money. And I'm not at that pro level. I'm still getting there. So getting to that level, I was like, okay, so that means I need to start a YouTube and work on my social media stuff. Yeah, I started rambling on the champion interview. Like, you put a camera in front of my face and I just start making sounds at it. Like, I'm not really camera shy. It's more like no matter what you say to me, things may or may not come out the way that I actually intended for them to come out. So I started rambling on there, and they're like, "Oh, cool. So like how what's your favorite part about jiu-jitsu?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So didn't ramble too bad on the next couple questions, but the first one I was just like, yeah, I want to be a professional grappler. I was gonna become a lawyer, now I do this, and jiu-jitsu did a bunch with my life, and blah 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 blah. And I don't even have a job. I just do YouTube, which is true. I don't have a job. I just make little YouTube videos. So I don't know why I started talking about that for Jiu-Jitsu World League, but I'm also at a place in my life to where like I'm able to sustain that. Like a lot of people, when I say that I'm a like social media content creator, I wish that they took my ambitions a little bit more seriously sometimes, just because like this is what I ultimately really want to do, and I've put a lot of work into this and amassing the audience that I have and the platform that I have. So I don't know, but I should probably just stop saying that I'm unemployed. I should probably just start saying I'm a YouTuber. because I mostly YouTube. Yeah, I have a black belt in rambling. All of my stuff is just so disorganized. Hey guys. I feel like I'm ultimately like kind of disorganized when I'm talking. I'm trying to get better at that, but I'm just putting it all out there and hoping you guys like it. So we went over to the podium. this is like when you're like your grandma with dementia starts telling you a story about her youth, and they're like, back in the day I used a lot, and then also when I was 50. Anyway, yeah, so after we like got on the podium and stuff like that, and I got my interview, everything was super cool. One, but I was like really tired, and so I ended up looking for food and running around and filming more content surrounding the venue. That vlog's going to be up later on, like all the stuff that I did afterwards. And saw some of my teammates compete. Like one of my coaches won gold in his brown belt division, and then another one of my teammates won gold in the purple belt division. Like for the men's brackets, since there's so many guys who sign up, they have to go through like 2 brackets, and that typically goes on a lot later. So I got to see them win, and it was really cool to be able to have like a team photo where everyone like won. I posted that on my Instagram story today of like my whole team. It was really cool to have so many medals in one photo of everyone who trained the 10 Planet Oceanside. So that was really cool. Somebody said, do I still train with Smitty? Yes, I do not go down to LA that often just because it's really far from San Diego, but Smitty and I, we talk at least a few times a week. He's one of my best friends, and I still think of him as one of my favorite coaches. Somebody said, am I tripping or does she have an accent? This is a hardcore Valley Girl accent from the mean streets of Lancaster, California. Like, I don't think I have like an accent. I think I definitely just sound like I lived in the valley, which is accurate. Going on live on TikTok and on YouTube is pretty cool. I'm thoroughly enjoying that. This is my first time going on both at the same time, so forgive me if I'm kind of choppy on either one. I just wanted to be able to interact with more people at the same time because I do have like a finite amount of time. Like right now it's what time is it? It's 6:01. I want to be at my 7 p.m. practice at 7 p.m. So I gotta wrap up at like 6:30 and stuff like that. So I'm always trying to get everything together. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my content though. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna publish this on YouTube, but I guess if you're watching the playback, then that means that I did publish this. But sometimes when I'm just being like a black belt and rambling, I do not publish them because people are like, are these like, is she okay? The answer is I've been hit in the head a lot. Sometimes people, somebody asked me, am I still showing up to practice late? I have a lot of things to do. And so, yeah, I'm typically like 15 minutes late, but I show up. That's the thing. You might not see me on time, but you're going to see me. Even like my friends and family know that about me. I'm not going to be there on time, but I'm going to be there because I like to pack a lot of things into my day and time. And I always try to finish each task before I move on to the next one. So that definitely makes me pause a bit before. But see, I saw somebody just say that they were watching the live and they're headed out. Thank you guys so much for watching my live. Somebody asked if I could make a RNC compilation and like put all of my RNC finishes together. So I can definitely do that pretty soon. Eddie Bravo actually asked me like relatively recently if I could put together a guillotine compilation so that he can post it. So I felt so cool when he asked me that. I was like, oh my god, I need to guillotine more people so that I can make a better compilation for them. But like a lot of my tournaments before I started doing social media, I don't even have videos of. So I would say I've done at least like an additional like 15-ish matches that I never like recorded, just like 5 competitions that I don't have any video as evidence of. So that sucks. Hey, Jelani Gibbons. Thanks so much for joining my TikTok. Thanks for always showing support. Thank you to Joshua Babbins, who's requesting the other compilation of my RNCs throughout competition. One thing that I am really trying to work on is my leg locks and that type of stuff. And I got to see a bunch of high level finishes at the competition. I saw one person on the mat next to me get their arm broken, and that was terrifying. Which shout out to that competitor. I don't know if she like would, if either party would want to be named, but shout out to them for taking that like a champ and like pushing through that because it's extremely hard to endure those type of injuries on the competition mats. And like big props to like these people for putting themselves out there and getting on the mats, because in such a male dominated sport, it's extremely hard to have the confidence to get up and go out there as a woman, especially at like a higher level to where like the numbers dwindle even more. So really big props to any women who get out there on the mats. But then I saw a couple people get put to sleep. That was also pretty crazy. Jiu-Jitsu competitions are insane. Like if you ever have one that's in your surrounding area, even if you don't train, like that would be a really fun thing to just like go watch, because it's really wild to be able to see those competitions in person and see like the sheer level of talent. Like, it's really wild to see like the absolute levels that there are to jiu-jitsu, just because like you'll go from like looking at the white belt tournaments to where like there's not typically a lot going on there, and then like you just see like each stepping stone to like the stuff to like how many levels there are to the stuff, and it's extremely insightful to watch. Like, I don't know if I'm biased, but my favorite tournaments to watch are definitely like purple brown belt tournaments, like tournaments that feature purple belts or brown belts, just because it's so high level, but they are still like not letting each other work, but they're both making enough mistakes for it to be a give and take. Like, when you see a black belt tournament, oftentimes like they're literally just at a stalemate, so it looks like not a lot is going on, but a lot of like tiny things are going on between the competitors that you may not see, especially at like gi tournaments and stuff like that, to where it's just like really slow. I prefer watching like brown belt and purple belt level tournaments, with the exception of stuff like PGF and ADCC. I really like how they're giving forefront to top level competitors who want to make it exciting, who want to make it action packed, and who are just absolutely going for it and are not trying to win at points, just because like I feel like when points get involved, competitors are more focused on like getting the points than getting the submission, which is not my style at all. And I even saw some of that in the matches that happened before mine, which like absolutely no disrespect to anyone who like wins by points or the specific competitor who won that match by points, but I saw a bunch of like submission attempts in the match before mine that I wasn't participating in, but like just watching. One competitor was going after a lot of submission attempts, and the other competitor was just like defending, but at some point one of them like passed the other to the guard or something like that and just got 2 points. So even though like one competitor had the other competitor in like an armbar type of situation, a decent portion of the match, and was like doing numerous sub attempts, like the other person still won. And I dislike rule sets where that's encouraged. I prefer rule sets to where it's like, if it's going to come down to if it needs to be a ref decision match or a points match, I would prefer to have a ref decision who's like getting after it and who's putting the other person in danger of getting submitted more, rather than like who's able to hold position. But I definitely do think that there's a merit to both things, because if you're able to score those points, you are probably holding like control over your opponent. But me personally, I am just like sub only, focusing on stuff. Somebody said, would I rather have not done this and stayed on my lawyer path? I really question about if I would have actually been happy in the corporate world. I think that when you're a young adult, you have this idea of how your life is going to go, and you get very married to that concept. And I feel like I was more so married to the concept of becoming a lawyer than what an actual day in the life of a law professional looks like, and the sheer amount of hours that I'd have to work in comparison to the amount of student loan debt, and the fact that I would like have such little leisure time. And eventually I want to, have a family, and that might not be that practical if I pursue the type of work that I was previously intending on. But I'm definitely not saying that I'm never going to go back to that, so I don't want to bash it too hard. That's just not something that I necessarily want for my life right now, and the way that I see my future going as of right now. But it's changed before. I guess that could change again. But as of this present moment, I definitely see myself continuing on my grappling journey, continue to do competitions, and eventually make it to black belt and compete at black belt level tournaments, and then hopefully eventually open up a gym of my own or become some type of head instructor or something somewhere. People said a bunch of stuff in the TikTok live. Gotta look over that again. Oh, thank you guys. People are just being nice on TikTok. I appreciate that. Something that I want to do next is I'm probably going to do like the Jiu-Jitsu World League event on December 7th, just because that's in San Diego, and I live in San Diego County. So I'm probably gonna do that on December 7th. I was originally gonna do like this in-house tournament in a few weeks. That's like just between it's hosted at like 10th Planet San Diego, and I was going to go to there, but I'm choosing to go to Jiu-Jitsu World League instead, just to push myself to compete with some more purple belts, just because I really want the challenge of, punching above my belt, and trying to do that. A lot of people have been asking me about like IBJJF Worlds and things like that, and I really want to do that, but I don't think that I've even had my belt long enough to do that. I think they make you have like your belt for like a year before you're allowed to compete, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I literally don't know enough about IBJJF. I just hear that, there's like a bunch of political stuff going on with it, which I don't want to necessarily comment on on TikTok and YouTube Live. But I don't know. I'm still probably ultimately going to do that one at some point. Some of my fellow competitors have kind of like, encouraged me to pursue that next. And originally I was like, no, I don't feel like it. But ultimately, I think I'm definitely going to try to do Blue Belt Worlds whenever that comes around. And somebody else also asked, what do I want to do next that doesn't involve grappling? I want to paint. I really like painting and watercolor painting, so I want to get more into that. I enjoy that. I just don't necessarily have the time to do painting. I have a bunch of like passion projects that I'm going to be working on in the near future. I want to do like this docu-series where I follow like top level competitors and just like interview them and include like historic moments of their life and career in the docu-series, but that'll be like very editing intensive. So I need to get that in order. I have some guests that are already on board. I'm going to be interviewing Gio Martinez, one of the Freak brothers, the Freakazoid himself. I'm going to be interviewing Scott Epstein. He literally has a guillotine across right here, and that is also my coach that gave me my blue belt. And probably ADCC champ Keith Krikorian. So that's who I have coming up on my docu-series that should be coming out soon. I just need to get enough brand deals to not freak out about all my content. So I'm right now trying to procure sponsors for my upcoming competitions and like to like continue to pursue like my athletic and creative endeavors. So I'm right now just focused on procuring sponsors and stuff like that and finishing editing up the rest of my content that I already have filmed and then getting to my docu-series. So that should be pretty cool to get done already. Congratulations on your daughter doing Jiu-Jitsu World League. Beautiful crazy in the chat. Yeah, so working on all of those endeavors. Also just trying to get stronger. I've been lifting a lot, and I've been really bugging like Young LA to sponsor me. Come here, Young LA. But yeah, like that's what I ultimately want to be doing, and getting more comfortable talking on camera. Maybe rambling less, unless you guys like the rambling. I don't know. I just figured I'd just get on here and be myself, because I feel like so much of my content and audience happened before me even saying a word about like myself and actually putting myself as a person and brand on the internet. So it's definitely something to get used to, is being entirely comfortable putting myself out there like as a person in spirit, rather than just like a branded competitor, because previously it was just my competition stuff, and now I'm actually talking on the camera, which I'm so scared of like saying the wrong thing and getting in trouble or like hurting somebody's feelings or offending them. So I need more media training. That's what I'm gonna say. Somebody said, can I give their daughter, Alana, a shout out? She's very motivated by my content. Hi, Alana. Thank you so much for consuming my content. Thank you for all of your support. Hope you keep training. Thank you, guys. I've been training for coming up on 3 years now from the chat. I actually have not gotten a leg lock submission of my own in the competition, but I work on them a lot in the room, and I'm very confident with my like leg lock offense and defense. typically stay standing for me. Oh, one of my cousins joined the chat. What's up? Good night to the people who are saying good night on YouTube Live. Somebody said, what division do I compete in? I compete in the blue-purple division if they combine it, but I am a blue belt currently, and I compete at the intermediate if they're not separating it by belts. I am going to most likely exit the TikTok live because only 5 people are watching that one. So I'm probably going to leave that pretty soon. Let me check to see what other people are saying on my community tab and my Instagram broadcast channel, which thank you guys so much for supporting both of those things and like checking it out. I really appreciate anyone who is subscribed to my Instagram exclusive and my Instagram channel as a whole, and keeping up with my stuff. When you watch my community tab. Good evening, CS Scott. Somebody said, what is my favorite takedown? Low risk, high reward in gi. I don't do gi, so I don't have a favorite gi takedown or anything like that. I put on a gi like a maximum 5 times in my life, and I hated it every time. So often people are just like, you need to do gi, you need to do gi. It's like, I've tried it. I think if you try something like 5 times and you still don't like it, then that's probably just not for you. I'm just not a fan of doing gi. So I don't think you guys are going to see me back in the gi anytime soon, if ever. But my favorite takedown overall, I really like doing, I don't know if it's a takedown, but like I'm a huge fan of duck unders, which actually, no, it's not a takedown. No. One of my favorite things to actively do in the training room is ankle picks. And when you do like the bow down, it's called like something like elbow down, bow down or something like that. When like somebody's like heavy on an underhook and you like shrug that by and then you just like take them down from the side. I don't know the names of a lot of things, but that one is a huge favorite of mine. And I also just love a good blast double. That's definitely a classic. Somebody said, why do you need a belt if you don't have a gi? So the reason that you have belts and no gi is to separate you in competition divisions. And that just because like if you have blue purple level attributes and you enter like, I mean, if you have like, if you're a white belt, there's going to be a huge like skill division difference if like they put you with like a purple, brown, or black belt. So that's kind of like the fairness aspect there. I know like in wrestling, there's no separation between like skill levels. It's just typically done by age and weight, I believe. So Jiu-Jitsu, they separate it by both age, weight, and skill ranking, depending on the tournament you sign up for. Another person asked, what's the trick to the ninja choke to guillotine? I prefer going guillotine to ninja choke. If somebody seems to be bigger and stronger than me and I don't have confidence that I have the correct grip and shoulder position for the guillotine, I'll transition it into a ninja choke by after you have like so you have the guillotine this way, and then rather than like falling back onto it and trying to get your legs correctly, you can just come up, snaking this arm over and like finish it like a rear naked choke around the neck. So that's how I typically do it and transition to it. And that's actually one of the things that I did to get this here bad boy was transition from a guillotine to a ninja choke. Somebody said, congratulations to all my achievements and accomplishments. Thanks so much. I truly appreciate that. I'm just trying to always be better than I was yesterday and do more than I was doing yesterday. I just kind of was getting over a slump where I just didn't feel that motivated. Like all last month, it felt like I felt like that scene in New Moon when Bella's like, you dance of possibilities. You like my song? When she's just like looking out of the window for like months. That's how I felt all last month and just like in recent times. So I'm just now starting to feel more motivated to do stuff and create and compete. It's just getting out of that funk and getting back into the rhythm of things. It's definitely tough to keep that motivation and that momentum going at all times. And I feel like there's like a really fine line between being gentle with yourself and being motivated and like to get your motivation back and just being lazy. And I feel like I sometimes like air that line in a lack of motivation. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it when I'm motivated. But like if it never gets done, then you need to change something. Especially like for me, in pursuing content creation as like a full-time thing, I just need to treat it more diligently by just creating more content. Because I film the content, I just don't necessarily post it every time. Ooh, somebody said that they tore their knee at Worlds. Can't wait to get back on the mats. How'd you tear your knee, bro? How'd that happen? Another person asked me, MMA or kickboxing. I do not do any of that stuff. I do jiu-jitsu only. Somebody said, is that my first gold medal? No, I have at least like 15 gold medals, 15, 20 gold medals-ish. And then like maybe like another like 5 silver medals and like another 5 bronze medals. Actually, 20 is probably a lot. I probably like have like 15 gold medals. I don't know. I have lost a lot of my gold medals because I've moved a bunch because I have had a difficult life and I've moved a bunch. I think I've lived in at least like 10 different apartments or living situations in the last 5 years. So I would say about twice a year I end up moving. And, I'm weathering the storm, but my life finally has stability now that I live in one place that I don't intend to be changing anytime soon. Somebody said, "Is that a museum full of gold medals?" No, I need to hang them up. Like I have a couple Naga belts, like absolute belts, and a bunch of gold medals and other medals in my closet. I might just like put them all back here and have like a different background situation, or like paint this wall and then do something like that. This wall just has a lot of chips on it, so I like to have my background. Just because there used to be a TV mounted right here, so like it just isn't very visually appealing to like just see like the part where it was like filled in and stuff. I think I might be getting off of here pretty soon. I just try to stay for the full hour just because I know that some people tune in a little bit towards the end. So I like to get my full hour live in, but I might just go eat some food before I go train since it's it's 6:24. Okay. I'm gonna be here for 5 more minutes before I get ready to go train. Somebody asked me how my day went. My day went really good. I really liked being able to show up today and train. I took yesterday off because I got this on Saturday. I took Sunday off. I just like hung out at home and relaxed and watched From. all afternoon last night. And then today I went and trained, and I'm most likely gonna go train tonight. But I gotta go do that. Thank you for the props on my achievements in the TikTok chat. Hi, Wills Weiss. I'm not sure what that username is, but what's up? Hey, Judah. Thank you for the roses, Joshua Carter. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all the gifts and stuff like that you guys are leaving down below or on the side, depending on like what kind of platform that you're looking at. But I'm typically looking at my laptop. I thought that I needed to upgrade to a MacBook Pro, but I ordered some like storage stuff to move all the stuff that's stored on my MacBook over to like just like the external storage, so that I can hopefully do more with my MacBook Air. Just because I would rather pay my competition fees than like buy a new MacBook Pro and be able to compete for more stuff. Thanks so much for the coins. Or I don't know what that thing is, but I truly appreciate that. Somebody said, am I streaming on YouTube as well right now? Yes, I am looking. This is my YouTube camera that I'm pointing at right now. Then this is my phone. So I have my webcam pointed at myself for YouTube, and then I have my phone mounted up for TikTok. I'm just trying something new to be able to stream on both of them at the same time so that I can reach more of you guys in the same amount of time. So let me know if you guys like that, or if you guys are like, focus on me. I guess like TikTok people, I probably wouldn't be able to hear from you guys if you guys weren't a fan of it, because like you guys can't comment back, which is so sad. But I guess on the YouTube live, if you could go over to my YouTube and just be like, stop, focus on your YouTube. I would. Somebody else said congratulations. Thank you so much. Somebody said, which sport am I a champion in? I do Jiu-Jitsu. I don't really do other sports. Thanks so much. I'm excited to be going live regularly again. I definitely took a cool break off of it for like the entire month of like August and September. I was like finishing moving in and celebrating my birthday and familiar holidays and my anniversary and all that good stuff. And so it definitely was a huge life pause and reset that happened recently. But I am so incredibly happy, and it's so crazy that like I look back at all the goals that I had for 2022 and how many of them I've accomplished now and how many of them I've exceeded, and I'm just so incredibly excited for 2025. A lot of people have been asking me about my injuries lately because I posted that TikTok of like all the injuries that I've ever had. I actually tore my knee up and got all the screws in my knee within my first couple months of jiu-jitsu, which is a story for another time. I could probably do a story time on that another time. But all the screws in my knees happened within a few months of jiu-jitsu. I've accomplished all of my competition feats and achievements significantly after that. So yes, I'm all healed up, and I've been all healed up for a while. I wouldn't feel comfortable posting about an injury if I hadn't already healed from it, just because I do reserve some level of privacy, despite like being a relatively public figure. I definitely do keep things to myself until I finish going through them, because just because you're a public figure doesn't mean that like people are entitled to all details of your life as you're going through them. And I definitely show people what I want to see, and go through things like on my own time and things like that. So I'm doing great, and my knee is all together, and I had a fantastic surgeon. Like if you go to UCLA or you're in the LA area, or like you have Anthem insurance, like Thomas Kremen is fire at putting a knee back together. That's cool. Somebody on the TikTok chat said that they want to go to UCLA and photograph some of my matches. I no longer go to UCLA. I graduated in 2023, so I am a graduated student, and I guess not graduate student. I am a graduated alumni, and I live in Vista now. Somebody said, do I think I can reach the world level one day, or do I think that that's far away? I think that right now I'm really just like mid-tier. I don't think that I'm necessarily bad at jiu-jitsu or good at jiu-jitsu. I feel like I'm literally just mid at this moment. And for only training for 3 years, I feel like is a really good accomplishment. And I'm not saying that to like humble brag or like put myself down, but I just know that there's levels to this stuff, and I'm not a black belt. So I guess if you're comparing like me to somebody who's never done jiu-jitsu, then yes, I'm good. But if you're comparing me to like these world-class black belts who are winning ADCC, then like no. So this is just like where I'm at in my jiu-jitsu journey, and I do believe that I will be at that level someday, and hopefully in the near future, especially now that I've just focused on training full time. And thank you to all of you guys who give me the platform to be able to train full time. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. And thank you to anybody who came up and took pictures with me at Jiu-Jitsu World League. And I got a bunch of messages from people just like, oh, I didn't want to interrupt you. I wasn't sure if you're going to take photos with me. Like they just didn't want to bother me. Like, please, if you guys ever see me in person and you guys want a photo, like, feel free to ask me. Like, I would absolutely not be here today, and I wouldn't have the platform that I do and the freedom and leisure time and all that stuff if I was not like supported by all of you guys. Like, having a platform means nothing if no one's watching you, and it means the world to me that you guys like watch, listen, and participate in my content, and I truly appreciate the support. So never feel nervous about like coming up to me and asking for a photo, but please be respectful and don't creep too hard. Like, just ask, take the photo and head out, because you know I'm still trying to compete and stuff like that. But thankfully I haven't dealt with that issue in a while. But somebody said they don't understand what I'm saying because they don't speak English, but they're still watching my live. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Somebody said, where do I compete now? I train at 10th Planet Oceanside, and I compete at wherever is within like 3 hours of me. I competed at ADCC Phoenix and ADCC Vegas within the last 6 months-ish. But I try to just stay in California, because California is like the mecca for jiu-jitsu right now anyway. Specifically like San Diego, a lot of things are happening in San Diego, and we have some of like the most top level gyms centralized in San Diego. There's definitely like world-class gyms outside of San Diego, but like here in San Diego, we have like both 10th Planet Freaks gyms, and we also have like Legion, Atos, and like just world-class gyms. So it's all centered around here. We have a bunch of high-level competitors, and the competitions definitely reflect that. So I try not to travel unnecessarily for local competitions, and I'm trying to, you know, stack up my coins so that I could hopefully do some more like travel-based tournaments across the US at some point. But I know that a lot of these are invite only, so I'm just trying to continue to level up my skills to do that. Somebody also said, do I try to prevent cauliflower ear or just don't care? Honestly, I feel like my ears are kind of invincible at this point. I wrestled at UCLA for a few quarters, and I didn't get cauliflower ear then. I had to drain my ears, I want to say twice, but they just got filled up like 1 or 2 times, and I drained them and then used like these like collie butt things to like hold it. And then whenever I got like liquid in my ear since then, I would just like put a collie butt on. So I guess I'm preventing it, but like I'm not trying that hard. Like in training, I'm not doing anything in particular to prevent it. I do not train in headgear or anything like that. I just let it happen. But I do what I can to delay it, just because I really like wearing headphones, and I see the health problems that having cauliflower ear can sometimes cause. Like I know a lot of my teammates get like ear infections and stuff like that, or like sweat in their ears, and it like hurts with like their balance and stuff like that. So I definitely try to like not get it, but I do not live my life thinking about it, if that makes sense in any way. Somebody said, if I could do any other wrestling or fight sport, what would I do? I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing, but if for whatever reason, like Jiu-Jitsu stopped existing tomorrow and any form of grappling stopped existing, I probably go into MMA as a whole, or like Muay Thai or something, I guess. Thank you to anyone who sent the roses in the chat. Somebody said, how old was I when I started doing Jiu-Jitsu? I was 22. Somebody said, what advice would I give to those who want to start Jiu-Jitsu at 21? I'm looking to start. Well, you'd have an extra year on me. I didn't even start. I didn't even like walk into my first Jiu-Jitsu class until I was 22. So you can start anytime. And one of my greatest inspirations and coaches, Gio Martinez, didn't even start Jiu-Jitsu till he was 27. And he's one of the top 10th planet black belts, and he's competed on numerous world and international level tournaments. So if he can start at 27 and become an international sensation and superstar and collect those accolades, you starting at 21 is absolutely fine. Somebody named Ray said, am I not seeing their comment? No, but I saw the roses that you gave. Thank you so much for the support. Ooh, somebody said, what was an ick about Jiu-Jitsu that I had to get over? The sweat and other people touching you. Like, it smells, and other people constantly touch you because that's the entire basis of the sport. So you have to get over, like, all that sensory stuff and get comfortable with physical contact and having other people's sweat drip directly into your ears, mouth, and eyes sometimes. You just have to make peace with that. That's going to happen inevitably. Somebody said, what belt am I? I'm a blue belt. And somebody else said, that went up and erased. I can't find that comment, but I just saw it disappear. I think that somebody deleted it. Yeah. Oh, I said I would behead. People have asked a lot of good questions. Somebody else asked, a few other good questions, like, as a woman, has somebody else maybe uncomfortable when training or competing? When I'm competing, no, but there's definitely things that you have to handle and get past while you're training, and just basic human interactions. And thankfully that I have a very good gym and support systems, and I've always had coaches who respect me as an athlete and respect when I'm saying that somebody else is making me uncomfortable. So I've never had something at any of the gyms that I'm still affiliated with that was not dealt with at that time. Somebody else also asked me, have I ever considered studying other martial arts to broaden my martial arts experience? No, just because any time I spend learning other martial arts is time that I'm spending away from Jiu-Jitsu, and that's something that I ultimately want to focus on. So I would rather get 1% better at Jiu-Jitsu every training session or every 10 training sessions than spend time learning another sport that I might not ever do again. Another person asked me, have I done any sports prior to Jiu-Jitsu? I did cheerleading and gymnastics, like, as a kid. So I did some of that. I did a little bit of volleyball. I loved volleyball, but I was, like, really bad at it. So, I just didn't make the team, so I didn't continue. But that's everything for me. I am going to hop off so that I can get some work done and hopefully get to training by the time that it starts, because right now it is 6:40. So thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you guys so much for watching me. Thank you guys for tuning in as I get this and always supporting me and being so kind and acknowledging or like saying saying nice things, whatever. I'm rambling again. Thank you guys so much for all your support and continued support. And I wouldn't have this if you guys didn't support me the way you guys do. So I truly appreciate that. Thanks. Have a good day. Oh, one other person said, it's clear that I'm only interested in jiu-jitsu. Do I ever get tired of the MMA questions? Tired, no, because I am happy that other people support me and care to ask me those questions. But I wish that prior to asking me that question, that they would look into the fact that I've answered that question in every single live stream that I've ever done. So I just wish that prior to asking certain questions, that people would look a little bit more in depth to like the things that I've already answered. But all right, gonna say bye again to this one. I was saying bye to TikTok. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this, and I will talk to you guys next time.